All right. It is time. Enough time has passed since the first part of season 4 for Stranger Things has dropped. You guys know how I feel. If you haven't seen it, click the link below to see my spoiler-free review. But today we are spoiling. We are spoiling the whole stew pot, if you know what I'm saying. So that was your final warning. If you have not seen the new season 4 of Stranger Things part 1, I am going to need you to click off this video. But let's go. Let's get into it. All right. We're starting off with at the very beginning. I love the I talked about this a little bit in the spoiler-free review. I love the new character Chrissy, who is, of course, the first victim of the new terrifying traumatizing new villain Vecna. And I love the way this villain is not just a brainless monster. This is a new sort of a take on the Stranger Things universe. Vecna plays off of the psychological trauma of his victims, and you see that all throughout the season. Vecna is a terrifying looking, slimy, just the worst, ugliest, hideous thing you can imagine to ever exist in the realm of the Hawkins lore. And he does a number on Chrissy, who is the cheerleader, one of the new characters, who is the first victim. And I gotta say, when that scene came up with Christy getting just obliterated in front of our new character Eddie Munson, it shook me up a little bit. I really love the way the costume designers and the special effects team, I love the thought out sort of graphicness that they implemented in this season with the body count of Vecna. And they, to me, took this to higher heights when you're talking about just the amount of visuals, just how terrifying it was. So, it does a number on you. It is not for the faint of heart. Very, very graphic. R.I.P. to Chrissy. I want to talk a little bit about as well, getting into the more of the character embodiment in characterization of Eleven. I was talking to my friend when I was watching Eleven's sort of background unfold. When she was in the classroom giving her presentation, there's a scene where she's giving her presentation, and I was telling my friend, I was like, you know, Eleven to me seems like she has a little bit of autism with her development. And I don't know how I feel about that writing of her character, but my friend helped me to appreciate that, well, she didn't have a normal childhood. She was isolated. She's not gonna have her full development skills. And it helped me to really, really appreciate that scene a lot more. I love the way Eleven's character is really sort of kind of dehumanized in this season. From that aspect, the bullying aspect, we're getting more into the territory of seeing Eleven not have the leeway to have that sort of normal life that she has always sort of dreamed of as a kid. She gets room to be more of, you know, to sort of grow up, but it's to no avail. She's shat on quite a bit in this season, and I really think the writers did a great job with doing that. I think they did a great job with showing you just how, you know, how hard it is for her to have that leeway to have a staple in her sincere development as somebody who's trying to reclaim her life and put the 11 character behind her and just be Jane. But obviously that's to no avail. Like I said, love the way they did that. I want to talk about sort of kind of getting more into the territory that the writers got into when it came down to the bullying aspects of the story and how they sort of kind of collided the crew together. Obviously, I'm talking about Lucas, and I'm talking about that sort of tie-in with the basketball team. Lucas feeling that shift in his character where he feels like, I have to be a new person. I have to sort of branch out, because if I don't, I'm going to be stuck in this box of Loserville. And I don't want that. And I if that means I'm gonna have to sort of kind of leave you guys behind, Dustin and Mike, if that means I'm gonna have to leave you behind in the satanic cult that is the Hellfire Club, then it's I'm gonna have to make that sacrifice. I love the writing with that. I did think that was pretty cool. Unfortunately, it does come with its cliches. It does come with a little bit of the cheesiness. I think the head leader of the basketball team, I think that he was sort of like the poster child, golden boy for the cliche sort of role that he had. And I think that in that instance, he played his part really, really well. It sold well. I did like that he had sort of a religious vibe to him, because that was sort of not really present in a lot of those roles back then for people of his stature. It was gonna be, I'm all cool, head on, but they sort of give him a twist where he's actually a little bit of on the I'm sort of like saved and sort of on the Jesus vibes. We have to be full on against these cults and these sort of, he quotes a Bible verse at one point. It's like, what the fuck? You never would expect that from a person of his stature in that sort of clique. So I did like that. I have to give them credit for that. Did like that a lot. I did like the transformation as well for him. His character does take a shift. Take a shift when you're talking about diving into more of the Stranger Things universe. And speaking of that, I want to talk a little bit about more about the villain. Obviously, it's revealed in one of the best plot twists that I have seen in a sci-fi series for quite some time now. Turns out that 11 and Vecna actually, before Vecna was Vecna, before he got his ass kicked by 11, to make that final transformation as Vecna, who we see, turns out that 11 and Vecna were actually in sort of association with each other, all the way back to the Rainbow Room, all the way back to where it all started in the laboratory. 11 really gave us the birth of Vecna, and I really love how that sort of storyline with her kind of fulfilled that sort of conflict resolution that we were always in front of as the audience, to see 11's character throughout this season. 11's character is battling with the, I'm a monster and I will never escape being a monster. I'm being treated like a monster. I'm in this sort of cage and I can't get out. No matter what I do, I'm not the hero in this situation. I can't be. It's impossible for me to be. I love how we have that sort of conflict resolution that comes full circle for 11's character when you're talking about this whole Vecna realm, because she is the one who really just snapped and opened that door for Vecna to become Vecna, sort of in the realm of the Upside Down, and expose it to Hawkins. So I thought that was so genius. I thought that whole scene where Vecna is explaining and the whole twist, but with Victor Creel, who is obviously the father of the humanized Vecna, who I'm also forgetting at this point the name of that character, but you guys understand what I'm saying if you've seen the show. I love that. I love that. I think it did a really, really good job of sort of, like I said, coming full circle. Because Vecna still had those sort of human tendencies, characteristics that were sincere. And we saw that with 11. We saw 11 and Vecna kind of have that relationship that was very much sincere before Vecna was revealed to be, you know, to be his real human identity and sort of go crazy in the Rainbow Room. Love that. Thought that twist was one of the best twists of the season. And I want to get into lastly, the sort of the whole Hopper storyline with him versus the Russians. I did think that was the weakest portion. As I mentioned sort of in the spoiler-free review, I think that the writers did drop the ball with that. I think they could have explored a little bit more from the Upside Down realm. I think that they were on a roll when we realized that the Upside Down is sort of, it has this sort of past element to it. Nancy obviously finding out that it's a couple years before, and then that tying into when they're in the Upside Down, her, Nancy, Robin, and Steve, and they're at the house, realizing that it's playing off of the past. From the past season, we obviously get, we were all waiting for it, the reveal of Barbara. Barbara being associated with the trauma that Nancy has been feeling up until this point, and playing off of just giving that door for Vecna to come through and fuck with Nancy now. Crazy. I thought that was really, really genius. I think that they could have implemented more. I know I kind of got off on a little tangent there, excuse me. I think the writers could have implemented a little bit more experimenting with that part of the Upside Down and really extending it to Hopper's storyline. I think that it was cool to see the Russians kind of capture their prisoners and make them, you know, fight against the Demogorgon for entertainment. But I think that there could have been a little bit more exploration when it came down to being a little bit more creative with the storyline, instead of having the Americans versus the Russian storyline. I know you have to tie in the scientist and obviously Joyce's character. But I do think that was a little bit of the downside. So that's just a little bit of my spoiler sort of thoughts of some of the key moments in the story. You guys, I'm gonna need you to let me know in the comments how you're feeling about the full season, part 1, obviously. Part 2, stay on the lookout, stay subscribed. Please give me a like, comment, and do all that stuff. What was your favorite moment? I'm gonna be releasing a video probably before the next part of season 4 drops on what my favorite moments were, and probably my least favorite moments as well. So let me know, guys. Thank you for stopping by. If you are a Stranger Things fan, lock in. Thank you for joining me, guys. This has been Shuby, Stranger Things Season 4 spoiler review. My thoughts. Still slaps.
That slaps.